The thing about the other two movies, and we're going to talk about both of them, but they are unneeded, both of them. You know, there's not really a point. And Sydney herself, there's not really a point. She should have been killed off in this. The best thing that I could talk about in Scream 3, though, is it is the Creed scream. The one where Creed is featured throughout the movie. You know, I think they're in that one song, What If I is that's the opening scene where they kill, I think Schreiber's character, Cotton and his wife get killed. And it's like it's kind of a weird song to be playing in the background, but it is like a, you know, kind of hard, fast. It was probably one of the more rocking Creed songs, but all I can remember about it is he just throughout the whole movie or throughout the whole song, he's like, "What out, what out, what out, what out, yeah."
And then at the end, I think it's isn't it My Own Prison? They play at the end.
What's This Life For? I think.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
What is life? Oh, yeah.
That is for hooray for the kid that lives on, or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. That should be the lyrics. Man, whoever
I think Hire is in this as well, isn't it?
That's what I was thinking. Like, whoever made this movie must have been like the biggest Creed mark of all time. Every one of them, every song on there.
Wes Craven's like, well, I think those kids like that shitty Creed music. Let's just get as much of it as we can. Because you know he wasn't fucking listening to Creed.
No. This one opens up with Cotton Weary, and like he's riding home, and then Ghostface calls him. He's got to get back to save his girlfriend. Goes back, and then he gets taken out at the beginning of the movie. By far, of those three, the least memorable of the openings.
Aside from the Creed music. That's obviously
aside
memorable.
from that. It's definitely memorable, yeah.
And Sydney in this one is a recluse. She's living up with her dog on a ranch somewhere, working as like a crisis hotline person or something, just working on the phone or whatever, hiding out from everybody. And I guess the other thing with this one is most of it's based around the shooting of Stab 3 and the casting. Like, isn't Lance Hendrickson? He's the guy over the studio. Lance Hendrickson's in this, which is weird. That's a weird.
That is a weird choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the Roger Corman which Roger Corman's in this movie too. I don't know if you noticed that. But
I think he's real briefly in it, right?
Yeah. So I think it's kind of a nod to him, that particular character.
This one too, this movie has a lot more comedy in it, it seems like. And I was doing a little bit of research on this shit. And evidently, like, they had changed the tone quite a bit, because just a few months before they started filming this movie is when the Columbine shooting took place.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, I think that changed a lot of aspects, you know, the tone of Scream 3. So there was a lot more comedic elements added into it.
Well, that makes sense.
DEADPIT.com. Woo!
Oh, shit.
Well, you got here just in time.
Yes, honey. Hang on just a second. We get Bob's clothes.
Let's fix this here. There we go.
Oh, that's lovely.
How you like that?
That's a nice panorama.
We're professional, baby. If we want to, we can go back this way, but you know,
Oh.
it's a little bit too up close and personal for my liking.
It's like, hey, bitches.
So how you doing? How you doing tonight, Uncle Bill? We're doing a little later than normal.
Yeah, I was hoping that the kids would go to sleep, but they're still awake and louder than fuck. But what are you gonna do?
Well, yeah, I mean, at least it's 1 hour later. At least it's that, you know, because there might be a slim chance that one of them will go to sleep.
Maybe. I don't think they will. They like to stay up and
Probably.
torment me.
Well, that's kind of what kids are for. You know, that's what I hear.
That's what they do.
To tear shit up, torment you, and cost you a lot of money.
But it does do my heart well to know that Savannah has to stay in there. So they're like running around in there. She has to try to grab them all. Shut up.
Yeah.
She doesn't do that. She doesn't do that. I was just kidding about that.
I wouldn't
Shut your
blame her,
mouth.
you know. So, tonight, we're reviewing, like, if your draw is shitty movies, then you'll want to check these reviews out. I don't know if, other than one particular person, if anybody was curious about what we thought of Alligator 2, The Mutation, or the Hitcher 2, I've been waiting. But those are the movies for the Sequelitis episode tonight. And we're going to toss another one in there because, you know, it's another patron review that, we're going to play some catch-up tonight.
I have to admit that, like, when I was watching these movies, you kind of get the impression that either somebody really hates us or they just like to watch us, like, tear apart shitty movies because, oh my God. Like, there's not a whole lot going on here that's going to be, fascinating.
Right. So Geek Room Life's already, he's talking about Alligator, says that, I say it every time Alligator is mentioned, this screams Vinegar Syndrome box set.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that, yeah.
We'll talk about the movie in detail here in a little bit, but, Alligator 2 does scream Vinegar Syndrome. There's no doubt about that. That's right up Vinegar Syndrome's alley.
It's weird because the first Alligator, you would never think it would be as good as it is, but it's right up there with, like, some of the best animal attack movies ever. And then you get to Alligator 2 and it's like fucking Ghoulies Go to College. That's the quality that you deal with.
There's a couple things in common with these two movies, really. Oddly enough, like, there was a long time in between the sequels for both of these movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's one person that is in both of these movies. Did you catch on to that?
I think so.
It's our good buddy Steve Rail's back. He's in both of them.
I was trying to figure out what the hell that guy's name was forever, like, and it just wasn't coming to me.
Yeah, he was also in a really killer Ed Gein movie back in the day, too. It's probably
Deranged.
one of the better. I think it was just called Gein or something, wasn't it?
Was it? I thought it was Deranged.
There was a Deranged that came out before, but this was like in the early 2000s, I think, is when this one came out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Steve Railsback, I always, for some reason, remember him from The X-Files, because he was in, like, one of the better episodes.
Yeah, he's a good actor, and I think he's still alive. Haven't seen much from him lately. X-Ray Punch is on here. He said, I liked Alligator 2 as a kid. I refused to watch Hitcher 2 out of principle.
What would the principle be there? Like, because Rutger Hauer's not in it? I mean, that is enough to really, like, take you out of it.
Yeah, I mean, well, we'll get into it here in a minute. Jake Busey is not really that intimidating.
Let's put it this way. Never has there been a movie where somebody was like, I'm really glad that Jake Busey took over this role. Because, like, I don't know what I would have, if it had been anybody less than Jake Busey, I don't think they could have pulled it off.
Right.
No one's ever said that. I'm about willing to bet.
No. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. If anybody has got any comments or questions or anything, just go ahead and put them in the comment box over there, and we will get to them. Which one do you want to start with, Uncle Bill?
It doesn't matter. Let's start with the Hitcher. I guess we were just talking about it.
The Hitcher
2. Yeah.
I've got the DVD still over here. I'm a proud owner of that, right?
Yeah.
Although, I want to tell people, the DEADPIT Roku channel has this thing in HD. If you want to see it like it's meant to be seen, you can check it out right now.
Thank God it does. I would have never seen it. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Hitcher 2, I've been waiting. Same guy did Bats, the same director. What was his name? Louis Mornillo. Bats. He did Joyride 2.
Yeah, he did a lot of really shitty, like, mid-2010 movies.
He did Carnosaur 2. And he did Hitcher 2.
So, 15 years after the original Hitcher, C. Thomas Howell and his girlfriend decide that they're going to go back and meet up with the captain and go revisit like the site of why the fuck you want to do that is still beyond me. I mean, the setup is
he's having like PTSD, I guess, right?
Right.
4 years earlier. And his buddy's like, you just got to face your fears head on, C. Thomas Howell.
Right. So he, of course, goes and charters a plane and goes over there and like they have like a road trip and they go and meet the captain that was it's not even the same actor from the first movie who actually believed him and all the stuff about the Hitcher and whatnot. And I guess that, like you were saying, that he's trying to repeat or replace everything that happened to him there and put it into some sort of perspective when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, on a fucking Honda Suzuki or something, comes Jake Busey.
Yeah, the teeth of Busey. That's what he should be called, because that's like the only trait that he has that you could call Busey. He has the Busey jaw. Carrie Wurr is in this, right? We used to make fun of her all the time. I don't remember exactly why.
She's just the generic kind of like, I don't know. She was one of those girls that was in the 90s and 2000s movies. Like, she was always in everything, but you never really knew who she was. Like, she was in one of the Hellraiser movies. She was in,
she was in a bunch of, like, direct
Carnosaur and, like, stuff like that, yeah.
So,
I think she was in one of those movies, too, like House of the Dead or Dead or Alive or one of those video game movies like that.
If I'm not mistaken, too, like, Jake Busey was in, like, a comedy around the same time. It was a really goofy, stupid, like, road trip type comedy. The same year, I'm thinking, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of it. Somebody can help us out here.
Wasn't Tomcats, was it?
I think that was it, yeah.
Yeah, with Jerry
that sounds right.
Connell, yeah.
Yeah, with Fern from Stand By Me, grown up.
Yeah.
So, he's not a very intimidating fella anyway, with his big goofy teeth, grinning at you and all that. But, like, it doesn't help matters that he was in a goofy, stupid, early 2000s comedy. It's very similar. I remember it being similar to Road Trip.
It was just everybody trying to cash in on Road Trip after a while, yeah.
X-Ray Punch said that he was also star of the critically acclaimed Shasta McNasty, which I haven't had the pleasure of checking that one out.
Sounds like a drink from around here. Fucking Shasta. So okay. Let's talk about just a couple of things here. So he shows up and everything goes to hell like it did in the original. But here's the part that I never really understood and that will haunt me going through the rest of this movie. Like, he says things to C. Thomas Howell that make you think that he knows all of the stuff that happened from the first film.
Right.
So, as we go further along in it, I'll get into it more. But there's a shocking kind of thing that happens almost midway in the middle of the film that I didn't see coming, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. We'll talk about that here in a second, too. Because I'm pretty sure this is only the second time I've ever watched this movie. And again, we're talking about Hitcher 2, I've Been Waiting. This was one that frequented Walmart's 588 bin back in the day. I don't know if you remember that. That's how I got this. This is one of the early cheapo DVDs that Walmart used to have these big, it wasn't really a bin, it was just a big section that had all these shitty, I think, what else did they have? They had some of the Exorcist sequels.
Oh, yeah.
In there.
They'd always have all the Steven Seagal movies. I remember that. Like
Steven
Out for Justice, Above the Law, and all that shit will be in there.
You had the Amityville sequels sometimes were in there. And, of course, Hitcher 2. But the subtitle for this is I've Been Waiting, and that's a line that he says in the movie, which you were kind of hinting at earlier. Jake Busey's character, he says, I've been waiting for you. They try their best to give him like these memorable one-liners in this too, and it does not work at all.
No. So let me ask you a question. Like, what the fuck is Jake Busey? Is he like the reincarnation of the first Hitcher? Is he supposed to be the first Hitcher? Is he like the first Hitcher's son? I guess he wouldn't be the son because I can't imagine like it'd be 15 years, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of hinted that he may have been like a reincarnated Hitcher or something like that, but they never really explain it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's the part that just got me through the whole movie. I'm like, what? So he somehow or another knows all this stuff, so he's got to be a fucking like ghost or a possessed guy, or even just like some sort of copycat. Like, they never explained it, which is really, really odd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they had an explanation for it. I mean, that was probably the reason that it was kind of vague.
Yeah.
With what was going on in it. Because it says that on IMDb that they had been working on this movie for, the pre-production stages for 15 years is what it said. So, I don't know if originally the plan was to maybe just bring Rutger Hauer back, but by the time they actually filmed it, it was too late, or what? I think it'd be really cool if they would have brought him back as almost like a ghost or something like that. But
yeah, I find it hard to believe they couldn't get Rutger Hauer back at that time.
Well, I'm sure they could have got him back, but again, he was fucking, I don't know, 55 years old or whatever at the time.
Yeah, but anyway, moving forward,
Did you do the count for me?
No, I didn't do the. I should have done the count, but no, I didn't.
But yeah, go on. We'll talk about that here in a second. I was just curious if you did.
Yeah. Did you? I mean, at some point.
What was that?
I said, did you do the count at some point?
No, I mean, by the time I thought of it,
I should have done it, but I just didn't.
I didn't want to go back and rewind it, so.
No. Okay, so midway through, like I said, did not see this coming, but midway through the film, spoiler alert, C. Thomas Howell gets killed. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's one of those things where I guess, like, maybe he could only be committed to the film for a couple of, maybe he just didn't want to be a part of the film series anymore, or like, whatever it was. But it switches to Carrie Werr being like the main focus of the film. And I'm like, I don't know if Carrie Werr is the one you want to like hang your franchise on as being. Not to say that C. Thomas Howell is amazing, but I mean, he's got a little bit more pull than Carrie Werr.
Right. So, yeah, that kind of out of left field too, because C. Thomas Howell is the lead in this. You see on the case, he is the lead from the first movie. So, and Carrie Were is a shitty actress, really. I mean, I hate to be mean, but once it got to her and her alone, it's almost like, okay, act scared, look around, wonder, and that was pretty much the rest of the movie, right? So, yeah, C. Thomas Howell, after I think about the first 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes?
Yeah, it's not that long into the movie.
So, and then it becomes, hey, he's after Carrie Wu. And then also, too, I don't know if you noticed this, to be honest with you, most of the kills were off screen. The only ones that were on screen were the cops.
Right.
And we'll talk about that here in a second.
Yeah.
And then, like, Jake Busey was not even in the movie very much, really, if you look at it. I mean, it was almost like they maybe got him for 2 weekends or something. I don't know if you caught that as well.
Well, Jake Busey don't have time to be making any kind of shit like the
He's
Hitcher
making
2.
Tomcats.
He's making Tomcats. I don't know, man. I don't know why. Like, a lot of it seems like copy and pasted together, like as a movie, too. There were some things like that they did from the original movie. Like, I don't know if you caught that with him, like, trying to blame the deaths on her, and, like, same way that, like, Rutger Hauer was doing with C. Thomas Howell in the first one, and, like, the mind games and stuff like that they were doing. But it just doesn't work like the first one did, because you don't have, like, an impressive actor to be able to pull that off, and there was no chemistry between those two like there was with Rutger Hauer and C. Thomas Howell. And there was really nothing, like, one of the things that made the first movie great is because, like, one of the biggest tension building pieces is that he was using Rutger Hauer was using the girlfriend as, like, leverage, and that you knew something was going to happen with her, and the way that it happens in the end. But in this one, it's like, once C. Thomas Howell is dead, it's just like the two of them going at it.
Right.
So. And
numerous police officers getting killed by.
Yes, and, like, apparently whoever made this film fucking hates the police.
Like, I started noticing. Yeah. Every police officer in the entire movie is killed by Jake Busey. Every single one of them. There's not one that survives.
Yeah. God. It's such a weird... Yeah. And I would have probably never really paid that much attention to that until you mentioned it, too.
I gotta say, though, like, a couple of positives. If I had to give positives, I actually think the cinematography and the visuals of the movie was actually pretty daggone good. I mean, especially for a low budget. I mean, this was obviously not a big budget production.
I probably should have mentioned that, like, in the beginning with the plane and all that, and even in the end with the plane. Yeah, whoever was doing the cinematography and the director of photography of this movie, they were really legit. And it looks a lot better than it should, given, like, the acting and the kind of the plot. But the rest of it was put together really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the end sequence, though, it doesn't make any sense, really. Why would anybody do this? There's a chase scene with Gary Busey in a gas truck, and Carrie Were is in an airplane. And it's kind of almost like a sparring match or so. I don't know how you would.
It's like a fucking Japanese kamikaze mission or something. Like, I don't know either. Right. Like, what would be the point?
I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, I'd gotten this probably I'd say the DVD came out in probably like 2003, 2004. And I can't remember if you and I watched it together when we first watched it. We probably did, but I never had the desire to go back and rewatch it until now, I guess, when it makes sense for us to review it. And I can honestly say that I'll probably never ever watch this again. But at the same time, like it's semi interesting to check out, just to say, hey, they waited, what was it, 13, 14 years in between the movies, and then this is what they come up with.
Yeah. A lot of movies like that. But this movie proved something else to me, though, which was that there are certain actors that are character actors that you just can't. They're just so charismatic and like they're so good at what they do that you can't put just some fucking jobber in there and have them do the same thing. Like I can think of like Tim Curry comes to mind, and Rutger Hauer definitely comes to mind. There's just some guys like that they're irreplaceable, and they make movies like that. They make a low budget movie like The Hitcher, which really shouldn't have been as good as it was, like watchable and a cult classic. Mm-hmm. And yeah, because Jake Busey just wasn't carrying this movie. It just wasn't. Didn't happen.
I mean at this point in time too, he was probably in his early 20s or something like that. I don't know how old Jake Busey is. And he wasn't really a name either. He was just a big, goofy-looking, blonde-headed dude.
Yeah.
That really couldn't act very well.
No. It looks like he ate a bunch of fucking Tic Tacs. And they're just all like...
Yeah, and they focus a lot on his mouth in this, too. At least I thought that, like, almost like Fulci used to focus on the eyes.
Yeah.
It was like, let's get in close on his fucking teeth.
Look at my teethers.
Oh.
It looks like... You remember, and there's something about Mary where he gets those fucking teeth put in. They're like way too big.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like through the whole film.
Yeah. God put those in, though, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, God was the dentist.
So, yeah, I mean, that is The Hitcher 2. I've been waiting. And I thought this would be an interesting one, too, because there's a few sequels and or remakes that's like this, where they're never ever talked about. It's almost like they were never ever made. You know what I'm saying?
There is. There's a lot, yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't even know that this was ever out. Like, especially some younger fans of the genre and stuff like this, because this was direct to DVD. I don't know if that was always originally the plan for this, because I think that was one of these that was shot around the time of 9/11 when the attacks happened on World Trade Center, and that delayed the release. I would guess with Carrie Wurr in the lead, it was always supposed to be direct to DVD.
I would think. But let me ask you a question. This is the big question I have about this. Is it worse than the remake?
I don't think so.
I don't either. I think the remake is like one of those ones that's just so... It's like a vanilla bland...
The remake is almost the same way, though. It's almost like people have forgotten that one was ever made. Like, nobody ever references it either.
Buddy, I reference Sean Bean all the time.
Sean Bean?
Sheen Bean. Oh, God, that movie sucks.
Yeah, I don't even remember. Like, that one, The Thing remake.
Well, the Thing remake would have been okay, but they just used so many visual effects in it that it was like unwatchable that way. I mean, the acting in it and the sets and everything were great, but in The Hitcher, there's nothing really like that to get in the way. It's just a bad fucking movie. It's just poorly done in all ways.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few, though, that's like that, but this one, too, I don't know if you thought this, but cinematography-wise, this movie's kind of shot almost exactly like Jeepers Creepers, right? You could almost edit some of the scenes back and forth between the movies, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
I didn't actually even think about that, but yeah, I could see that.
So,
maybe that's just because of whoever the cinematographer was.
It could be the same guy.
Could be.
But yeah, I mean, he did do a really good job with that. That HD transfer that's on the Roku channel actually looks really good. Like, I don't know where they got that from. Because unfortunately, as of yet, Hitcher 2 is not out on Blu-ray.
There's some country where like fucking Hitcher 2 is a masterpiece. They got it in 4K.
There's a German steelbook that's out in 4K.
Yeah.
They're big fans of Gary Busey.
Wouldn't surprise me, yeah. Like fucking Hasselhoff. Jake Busey is a legend.
I said Jake Busey.
Yeah. But anyway, like, I don't know what you would give the movie, but it's probably not one I would watch again either. It's kind of like they took the formula of the first one, but like watered down all the parts, and nothing is as good as in the original. So it's kind of pointless. And they killed the main character off, which it takes balls to do that, I guess. But at the same time, like, what is there if you're not got Rutger Hauer, then what the fuck is there about a Hitcher movie that would make you want to watch it if you just kill the main guy off?
That's what anybody. Yeah, I mean, the only way, like I said, I mean, if they were wanting to do that originally, because it did say that they were working on the pre-production of this back 15 years before it came out. So I would think that the original idea was maybe to do like a ghost of the Hitcher or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and do you remember there is a scene, I think is right before the police shootout or whatever in it, where there is they're around a barn and there's a jump scare with a couple of horses. I cracked up at that. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yes. Yeah.
These horses run out of the barn. Oh! Carrie Wurr's like,
oh my God.
Damn. So
too many fucking jump scares in these movies.
So yeah, that was kind of, believe it or not, that one was kind of our pick. The Patreon review show, I guess, is this go around because the patrons, one of them requested a Sequelitis review. The other one requested the next movie that we're going to talk about, which is kind of a sequel. So it kind of goes hand in hand as well with Sequelitis. Technically it's a sequel, but not really. Like, it's not really
it's not really a sequel, is it? It's more like what would you call that? Like, it runs the same time line. You know what I mean?
It could be its own movie as well. I mean, if they changed the name of it, you probably would never know. I mean, the name is really the only thing, and then the tail end of the movie, right?
Yeah.
So, 10 Cloverfield Lane. And this one, I couldn't believe this one came out 5 years ago. It came out in 2016. I'd never seen it. I'd never seen it before. I think you had watched it previously, right?
I saw it right when it came out. Yeah, right around the time.
And I love movies like this anyway. But for some reason, I just never did watch it until, just the other day. So the story for this one is this young girl who reminds me of Molly Tuttle. I don't know if you know the singer-songwriter. It was fucking distracting, man. She looked exactly like her. I'll send you a picture. But I don't have the girl's name that played the actress, but if you look at them side by side, it's just fucking aggravating, actually. They look exactly the same. But anyway, character's name is Michelle. She has a bad car accident and is saved by John Goodman's character in the movie. He plays, what was his name in it? Howard?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Howie. So, they're held up in this bomb shelter type, bunker type, underground bunker type deal. And he's giving her IV fluid. She's freaking out. She's hurt from the car accident. I don't know what the hell's going on, right? And basically what he's trying to say is there's some sort of warfare up, what do you call it exactly? Like airborne.
I think he was thinking, like an airborne contagion.
Yeah, top deal. He didn't know exactly what it was. He was like, we can't go. You've got to stay here for at least the next year, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, and he's got like this huge underground kind of cannibalistic humanoid underground dwelling.
Woo!
Ooh, there's a reference. So, like, and it's supposedly like all of the vents and everything have been closed off, so like no air from the top can get into the bottom, and he's got the food and the shelter and stuff, and it's basically like taking off on all those people that were like what they call them, doomsday preppers, that got really big around the time this movie was made, where they would have these big shelters and stuff thinking that the end of it was going to be the end of the world, but like what would happen if it really was the end of the world. And that's kind of the
right,
I guess, where the origins of this movie came from.
Yeah, and as the movie goes along, it's kind of like, well, maybe he's onto something here. She gets kind of some clues that she tries to escape and sees some woman that's really fucked up looking out the window. That looks, she looks sick. She almost looks like a zombie, right? So I think it's her and another guy that is staying down there in the bunker. And so they start to believe him, right? But then as the movie goes along, there's some more clues like, this guy's not stable. He's not all there.
Yeah.
And then, there's just some chaos ensues from there without giving a whole lot of it away. I'm sure most of you guys have seen this. But yeah, it turns out there is some crazy shit that's happening above ground.
It's basically, to me, this movie was kind of like Misery. Like the premise of it, the way that it's kind of executed is like Misery. You got this guy who you don't know what his intentions are, and he's keeping this girl kind of captive. And as the movie goes along, more and more like against her will, and like she's trying to get out of this place, but he keeps like bringing her back in. But then the only difference is in this one there's like actually is something to like not leaving the thing that she finds out later on in the film. Which, by the way, I had to look this up because I had to know if this was who it was, because in my mind I thought it was Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Dude, I've seen that bitch in 5 movies like in the last week. She was in Death Proof. She was in one of those Final Destination movies that I just watched. She was in this, and she was in oh God, what was the other one? It was one of the black.
Well, she doesn't normally have the short hair, right? That was just for this movie.
No, she normally has long hair, yeah. And I think she was in the Black Friday remake, or one of those remakes like that.
Black Christmas,
yeah, Black Friday. That'd be a killer movie.
Yeah. So, I really did enjoy the movie. I don't know if I wouldn't consider it really horror that much. Towards the end, I gotta say, it really, the end of the movie really doesn't fit with the rest of the film. Like, I almost think that they should have, at the very end, hinted at, hey, this is kind of like an alien invasion going on, and just quickly end it, right? Where it was about 10, 15 minutes long, the end portion with the alien invasion.
Yes, yeah. Which, like this movie, when I first heard about it, I thought, oh wow, this will be amazing. Like there'll be all kinds of, monster effects and related stuff like that from Cloverfield in it. But no, this is really nothing like that. And all of that's reserved for like a really brief part towards the end where you don't really even see that much. But it's nothing like that. It's more of like a psychological thriller, kind of movie.
And we got to really put over John Goodman in this role.
Yeah.
Because he's a great actor. I've enjoyed him in everything that he's ever been in. But he's one of those guys, too, where he was in Roseanne and that was such a hit show that he is always kind of seen as Dan Connor, right?
Yeah.
But he's like, everything that I've ever seen him in movies and stuff, he's great. And this is probably one of the better roles that he's ever had as far as just acting goes in movies. So,
Yeah, weird thing is he's like a really good actor, which you'd never really think that based on some of the stuff that he's done. But like King Ralph, for instance. I mean, that movie didn't set the world on fire, did it?
He was the babe.
He was the
Babe
babe.
Ruth.
He was good in that too. He's been good in a lot of movies. But you're right though. He was really good in this. And I remember when this came out, a lot of people were talking about him and that role, and it got a lot of attention too. Mm-hmm. And I actually like Mary Winstead too, even though she's in every damn movie there is.
Yeah, Molly Tuttle. You need to look her up.
Molly Tuttle.
Oh, yeah. I was looking forward to pick up a damn guitar and just go to town, but. Yeah, so that is 10 Cloverfield Lane. That's another one that I guess DEADPIT ended that same year. So we didn't ever really talk about that movie at all or anything. So Dan Trachtenbach is the guy that I've never heard that name before. So I don't know if he's done anything else. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the movie quite a bit. I do think that the tail end of it kind of didn't fit with the rest of the movie. It's kind of like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. And I think it would have been more effective had they just quickly hinted at it, spacecraft or something like that, and that was it. That was the end of the movie. But,
well, here's yeah, you're right, because the whole premise of the movie is all the way through it, you're trying to figure out, is this real or is this guy fucking crazy? Like, and he's just like trying to keep this woman in here. And then,
Chris Carruthers. He's asking about the Cloverfield Paradox.
I never watched the Cloverfield Paradox, but I heard it was like a huge piece of shit.
I don't think anybody else watched it either. Like, I didn't even know it existed until I was looking up stuff on this movie. I'm like, there was another one? Evidently, it was like on like Sci-Fi Channel or something, wasn't it? And it was
on Netflix. It just came on Netflix. Like,
okay.
Was unannounced, by the way, and they just put it on there, and like it's some sort of gimmick.
It's wild too. Those Cloverfield, like, I think Cloverfield the original did well when it came out, but it was like a long time ago. Well, it was still probably 8 or 9 years before this one came out. So the only real connection throughout most of the movie is the name. It's got the word Cloverfield in it. And then the Bad Robot Productions, J.J. Abrams was the one that produced it. So it's kind of odd, really.
The first Cloverfield, though, I don't know if you had this experience or not, but like it made me physically sick. Like the camera working and everything. I was just like, I mean, I liked it, but I just, by the time it was over, I could not wait to get out of there. Because it's just so disorienting, the whole thing.
I think we did a DEADPIT on the road for Cloverfield, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, because that one was like, handheld camera type movie, wasn't it? Like a home movie. Yeah.
The whole thing was,
10 Cloverfield Lane, baby. So let's go through some, we got some questions and stuff here. Anybody's got anything, just let us know. Black Forest Cake says that 10 Cloverfield Lane was quite good. Definitely definitely best of those films. John Goodman is really good in it. The lead girl is good too. Really beautiful, suspenseful, good acting, and entertaining. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, Mary Elizabeth Winstead's one of those people, though, that she was in everything for like 5 years, and you don't ever hear shit about her anymore. Like, I'm not sure what she's doing now. She's probably on some sort of TV series or something.
Scott's Wrestling Collection. Did you guys see Carrie Wurr in King of the Ants? She has a sex scene in that.
Does she fuck a bunch of ants? Please tell me she does.
Come on, you piss ants, crawl up my coochie.
Or there's one giant mutated ant.
Getting back to the Hitcher too, though. Didn't you think though, like I like C. Thomas Howell and everything, but he wasn't a millionaire or anything. He was a fired police officer in that movie. He ain't gonna be pulling Carrie Wurr.
You don't think?
No.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't even think C. Thomas Howell, like, as C. Thomas Howell could be pulling Carrie Wurr.
Cosmo Bubba says that I met Jake Busey at Scarefest a few years back, and I asked him about this. He's talking about Hitcher too. He said that he thought the hitchhiker was a different guy, and that C. Thomas Howell's character just had really shitty look. That's a good way to explain it.
Yeah, I guess this. But then why would he be going around saying shit like, I've been waiting on you? The whole premise of the movie is this guy's been waiting on this fucker. Or does he just mean I've been waiting on anybody?
I've been waiting on you. C. Thomas Howell. Cocksucker.
Oh, fuck.
Oh. Let's see. Scroll. Aiden Vavra. The Thing remake is actually a prequel, but it feels so much like a remake, so I can't blame you people.
It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, it's about like the team the fucking Norwegians and all that shit that explored all that bullshit. But that movie is laughably bad, especially in the FX department. I tried to watch that again like about 2 or 3 weeks ago, man. Just to be watching something. And you just can't get around the fact of how shitty that looks when you got some fucking like just random actor guy and all of a sudden they do the visual CG effect shit and he's just like, what the fuck?
I know.
But anyway. Yeah, they probably could have cut a little bit of time off that. It was like, but it's a character study. It's like, yeah, I mean, you could say that with any of those movies like that, really. Like, it just kind of drags in spots.
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, the first, I don't know how long that movie is. Like, let's say it's an hour and 40 minutes. The first hour and 30 minutes is like one movie, and then the last 10 minutes, it turns into fucking District 9 or something like that.
That's true. God damn, I forgot about District 9. That was a good movie.
That's a Neo Blomkamp. Whoa!
Yay!
Oh, let's see here. Speaking of John Goodman, have you guys seen Red State? He's great in that. It's one of Kevin Smith's best movies. Yeah,
that's one of those.
We reviewed that.
We did. That's one of those movies where, for some reason, everybody shits on Kevin Smith now. Like, everybody. But that movie was one of my favorite movies that he ever did, and like one of my favorite movies of that year, too. I thought it was great. Like, especially the guy. Who's the guy that's the lead in it? That he's in like Tarantino movies and all that shit.
Oh, yeah, the older guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. Somebody
He's great in it.
Here.
I cannot remember his fucking name right now.
It's not Harvey Keitel. I keep thinking of Harvey Keitel every time I think of that
guy. Yeah, it's
he's got
Michael
that Harvey
Parks.
Keitel. Yeah, that's it.
Michael Park, yeah. But anyway, guy's great.
But yeah, I mean, Chris is talking about nothing will ever touch Carpenter version. The thing is, though, is you're talking about those remakes and stuff, or the prequels, or whatever they are, the sequels. That's the thing. Remake is forgotten. Like I never hear anybody ever talk about that.
No,
like there's a lot of those sequels and prequels and remakes and all that nobody ever references ever. Total Recall remake's another one. You remember that one?
That's true.
There was a RoboCop remake.
There was, and nobody ever fucking mentions it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And the only mention that any of those movies will ever get will be in like videos like this, where that people will be like, "You remember like those fucking shitty movies?"
Yeah, just somebody has like a comment here. We're like, "Oh yeah, they did make that, right?
Yep.
That was like 10 years ago." So, but anyway, we do have one more that.
Yeah.
This one takes the cake too, by the way.
I even made notes on this one. I was like, "Fucking Lord God."
I'll tell you a little backstory on this one, right? I watched this one quite a while ago, but it wasn't in one sitting. I think it took me 4 different occasions to get through this movie. And it's not a very long movie either. I think it's, just barely over 90 minutes?
It's either 80 some or 90 minutes, yeah.
And it's from the early 90s, direct to VHS era. The director of this actually, he directed The Watchers, which was kind of a modest mainstream success, and that was just a couple of years before this. So he also would later co-produce American History X, which was a huge hit. But this one, not so much.
And he made this turd.
Alligator 2, The Mutation. If you thought one alligator was enough, you were damn wrong.
These are mutated. God damn it.
This is a mutated alligator. It likes to smack you around with its tail.
That's one thing I've got written down over here. It's great. Okay, so this, the plot of this movie is Jaws. That's all you need to know, really. It really is just like a giant rip-off of Jaws. Like a real estate developer is trying to do something. Like Steve Railsback is the real estate developer in this, which is fucking bizarre in and of itself. Like, that's the worst casting. That guy and like a high-end real estate developer have zero in common whatsoever. But there he is. And he's doing something where he's trying to raise water. I can't remember exactly what it was for. But
I don't think they even explained it.
Yeah. In the process of doing that, he releases like these fucking alligators and shit. And yeah. And then everybody tries to cover it up because, you know, you don't want the price of the real estate to go down and all that shit. So it's basically like the fucking mayor from Jaws and all that. Except they're alligators. And they're mutants.
Yeah. There's like a extended wrestling scene in this too. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, that.
It was like never ending. It was like half of the fucking movie was like in this.
The whole time I was watching, I was like, yeah, they fucking just ran out of like anything to put in this movie.
It was like they got like some sort of permit to film some wrestling show that was at this bar. And it was like, there was some real wrestlers in the background there too. Turo Tanaka was there. Tom McGee, the guy that quit wrestling after this, I think.
And Tom McGee from the famous like Bret Hart tape and all that.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of other ones, but I didn't. But yeah, for some reason there was some sort of wrestling match at this bar, and it was probably 20 minutes of the entire movie was focused on that. So yeah, Steve Railsback is like the rich asshole character that doesn't really care about anybody but himself, and I think he was the one that was putting the wrestling match on or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, because if you're going to do 20-minute wrestling match in the middle of a horror film, it needs to be like Blood Diner. Like, that's how you do a wrestling match in the middle of a horror film with little Jimmy Hitler.
Right.
Fucking, yeah.
So, the lead in this, and this is fucking killer too, this guy's name is Joe Bologna. Or Joe Bologna.
Yeah. One of the two.
And I was like, this guy looks familiar, right? So this was the actor that played Adam Sandler's dad in Big Daddy. That was like what I remember him from when he was much older. Well, not that much older. Well, I don't even remember what year Big Daddy was. But this one, he's the lead cop in it. He is married to Dee Wallace. This cast is fucking killer. Like, if you just mention these names.
Yeah.
Dee Wallace is like this scientist, right? And she's the one that makes the discovery that there's something in the water that's mutated this alligator. He's a damn giant now. Basically, that's what's said.
Yeah, paraphrasing it.
So the alligator in this has a hunger for bums. Eats a lot of homeless people and bums and stuff. Tony Moran ate him in this movie too. He was briefly in it. Swallowed him whole because he's a fucking bum.
You're a bum kid.
So Steve Railsback starts to fucking get scared. He's like, he's going to lose money on his investments or whatever else. So he hires a bunch of rednecks. The lead redneck is Richard Lynch.
This was the best part of the movie, really, is the fact that he gets together like a posse, basically, to take his fucking alligators out. And Richard Lynch, who ripped my fucking poster, I'll never forgive him for that, is the lead.
He was a little out of it. Sure.
He was slightly intoxicated or impaired.
Dude.
I don't know which.
At some point in time, we do need to tell the Richard Lynch story in full, but that was great. So, yeah, I mean, they try to take out the alligator. They fail. So, what do those guys end up kind of teaming up with the cop, Joe Baloney, and kind of join forces to try to destroy the alligator once and for all before it smacks the shit out of more people and kills them with its tail. Cause
that's another thing that, like, you can't mention this enough. Like, for some reason, they had a relatively decent looking, like, alligator mouth, right? But they didn't really, like, a head and a mouth. They didn't really have, like, anything else that was decent looking, apparently. But the alligator mostly just goes in and fucking, like, smacks people in as slow as manner as humanly possible. Like, you could get away from it 5 times by the time its tail comes around. And when it hits people, it sends them, like, fucking 20 feet in the air. And that's how he takes people out.
Did you notice that Kane Hodder was in Richard Lynch's posse? I didn't. I
didn't notice that at all.
I didn't pay any attention. I'll tell you another funny one, too, Uncle Bill. Now, what's the odds of this? It's just so... It tells you I've got way too much shit, and I don't even know what the hell I've got and what I don't have, right? So I think you watched this on YouTube as well. I watched it on YouTube. That's the...
Yeah.
I was like, well, I don't have this. And I was out there literally yesterday in the storage building.
Yeah, you got it.
And I've got it. But I want to say this, though. I mean, the movie sucked. It's not very good. It's very low budget. It is a perfect Vinegar Syndrome release. It is exactly like the stuff that they would go for. I don't know who owns the rights for this. I would imagine it wouldn't be very expensive for them to pick up the rights for this.
No.
But this has got so much just goofy and hokey shit in it. Like, there's a scene, too, I think I sent it to you, where I think there's a carnival and something like that going on. And then the alligator gets up and just goes on a rampage through the carnival, scaring people. It really doesn't do anything at all. You're thinking alligator's going to eat people or whatever. The only thing it does, again, is just swats its tail at people and, knocks them into popcorn stands and stuff like that.
The best part of it to me was, like, it looks like that they took, like, an alligator head and just put it on, like, a dolly and we're just, like, pushing it, around and into people and stuff. It just looks so bad. It's in a great way, though. I really liked the original Alligator, and I really liked, like, Robert Forster being in it and, like, them talking shit about his hair and everything all the way through it. I don't know if you remember that or not. Mm-hmm. But that was, like, the whole premise of the first movie, but it had, like, a tongue-in-cheek quality to it.
Yeah, this, again, like, honestly, like, what year did the first Alligator come out? Like, 81, 82?
80, 81, something like
Early
that.
Early 80s. So this one came out in 91, man. And it's not like, I like Alligator and everything, but it's not like Alligator was a huge hit when it came out, right? So you're almost, like, confused as to why, if they were going to make something like this, why did it have to be Alligator 2? They could have just called it something else.
Yeah, and, like, I don't think anybody was clamoring for an Alligator sequel 10 years after the fucking first one came out.
With, like, nobody, I mean, as far as mainstream stars in it, nobody in it that's really going to sell the movie at all. I mean, if you're a fan of B movies, you're going to be like, holy shit, Richard Lynch, Steve Carell's back, Dee Wallace is in this. Kane Hodder!
But they may have just had, like, or found out they had the rights to it, or there may have been something around that time, or maybe, like, what year did Lake Placid come out? That was later than 91, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lake Placid was like 98, 99, something like that.
So I'm trying to figure out, usually there's a pattern to these things, like some sort of, like, animal attack movie would have come out and been popular, but Who knows?
Yeah,
They're
but I
trying to
mean,
cash in.
Geek Room's going on about it again. Like Alligator one is so good versus this. But if Vinegar Syndrome would release it, I'd buy it. Or even Severin's got it with those hokey add-ons that they do. Yeah, I mean, this, like, Severin, this looks just like something they would release too. So I think your best option for Alligator is for maybe a 2-pack from Vinegar Syndrome or Severin or something like that. That'd probably be because it really wouldn't make sense to just put out Alligator 2 by itself. So, but yeah, I mean, I actually did enjoy this. It's not good by any means, but it's something stupid and fun to have on, kind of. If you got in a get together, whatever, you want to watch something stupid, make fun of it. It's one of those type of movies.
Yeah, it's cheesy, it's hokey, it's a fun movie. It's got some really bad effects in it and some really awful, like, just practical kind of stuff, like the swinging of the tail and everything like that. But it's a movie, it's Alligator 2. I mean, you kind of go into it knowing what to expect.
I honestly didn't. I don't think I'd ever seen this movie before, but I do remember that there were a few people over the years that did recommend us check this out, and we never did. For whatever reason.
I don't know why now.
But yeah, that is Alligator 2, The Mutation. If anybody's interested, it is on YouTube. The transfer is not the best, but the movie's not the best either, so it's all good.
Yeah, that's true.
Axel Foley, an underrated sequel is Waxwork 2, which I have that, but it's been a while. I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, he's actually really, really right, because it has Bruce Campbell in it. And it's really, really bizarre that it's a completely different type of movie than the first one, but it's probably, I won't say it's as good, but it's pretty close to being as good as the first one. And I haven't seen that damn thing in forever. Remember when they came out with the Waxwork 2 pack? Mm-hmm. They had both of them in the same.
Yeah, it was on DVD and they did the Blu-ray that way.
Yeah. So
very weird. Yeah, those movies have never... Waxwork is, I mean, growing up, I always thought that was kind of a classic, the first movie, right? Yeah. That one's never been out on a release by itself on DVD or Blu-ray, either one. It's kind of weird, but...
Yeah, the completely different premise to the whole fucking thing. Like in that one, I think that it's almost like Army of Darkness. Like they get lost in time and keep going back and forth in time rather than like into the set pieces. But I love all those movies, by the way. Like, I think Waxwork is a really underappreciated movie in and of itself. It was a great film from the 80s.
Geek Room is actually saying that they have Spanish Blu-rays. I'm guessing he's talking about the Alligator movies, but the quality is DVD. So you got to watch that quite a bit. I'm seeing that a lot nowadays. Black Forest Cake. I'm sure Alligator did well on VHS. Alligator and Cujo, another Louis Teague film, who we actually had on the show back in the day. Mm-hmm. Were video store staples. Yeah, I mean, animal attacks movies has always been like a popular subgenre. Producers want to make a quick direct-to-video buck on a somewhat established horror rental title. That's what he's saying. So
yeah,
I guess. I mean, that was the big thing. It was a different time. That was a long lost era that doesn't exist anymore. Really, I guess the closest thing to direct to DVD would be a Netflix original or Shudder original or something like that.
Which, speaking of Shudder originals, I know you saw that in Search Of. That's on there now.
Oh, In Search. No, I didn't watch it.
Oh.
We can talk about it though if you want.
That's
to
what I was going to say. Yeah, that's what I wouldn't say. You watch it. I was just saying like
I didn't.
I know you were had some comments about that recently.
Yeah, I mean, people could spend their money on what they want to spend it on. It's their money. But my whole thing is, okay, first it was In Search of Darkness, and then it was In Search of Darkness 2. Okay, if the first 4-hour documentary wasn't enough for you, we got another 4-hour documentary for you. Just throw us another $85, $90 on the Kickstarter, and you can have that one too.
And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, from my own experience, and I hate shit like this, and I'll tell you why I hate shit like this. Like, these kind of, like, money grab, talking head kind of thing. And there's been a million of these fucking things like this. But this, to me, is the most kind of, like, overtly, just blatantly, just nothing. Like, okay, so the movie, like, you turn it on, and the premise is we're going to go through every year, and a movie's going to come up from that year. Several movies come up from that year, and then somebody's going to tell you what the movie is about. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you need that? Like, if you're already... What?
I don't like okay, for one thing, one release is fine. Okay, you want to do a 4-hour documentary on whatever, slasher movies, whatever the hell it was, 80s horror movies, whatever. One documentary, okay, you're done. Move on. Do something else. Do a fucking documentary on the NBA from like 1998 or something like that. Do something different. But no, they were successful in doing that. So, let's get the fucking cast of Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Summer and talk to them. Let's get the cast of Terror on Tour. Let's get the clowns back together, and we'll talk to them about the making of some movie that nobody gives a fuck about.
Well, and it wasn't even just that. To me, it was like, okay, a lot of the movies they picked, like, everybody's seen. I feel like when people do shit like that, it's just like, what is the least amount of effort that we can do to put something together that we know is going to make like a buck, and really has no, there's nothing about it that's original or of any kind of like substance. It's just like,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know which movies they talked about in it. I haven't watched it.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like it was anything that like you've never heard of. It was like they mentioned Mother's Day and Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and fucking, and every now and then they throw in one that they, thought you might not have seen, I guess. Like, I'm trying to think of an example of one of them that was a little bit more obscure, but I can't right now. None of them that we haven't talked about on the show like before.
See, I mean,
15 years ago.
I'm not against them doing documentaries on movies, right? To me, like,
this is not a documentary though. This is nothing. I'm telling you, like, it's not. It shouldn't exist.
It takes skill to make a real fucking documentary. Like, at least make one that's good. Like, Life After Films, I can put them over a little bit. They've got a little niche thing that's not crowdfunded, by the way. So they're not going to fucking ask you $85 for a Blu-ray of it. So their whole thing is they have a theme, like Life After. The last one was Flight of the Navigator, Life After the Navigator. So it's a documentary about Flight of the Navigator, and it's also about the young star of the movie that had trouble with drugs and recovering addict and stuff like that. Whereas this is just basically...
Yeah, exactly.
One interview after the other. It doesn't really go anywhere.
Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I find 90% of the documentaries on Blu-rays to be completely useless because nobody really wants to say anything that's like would be entertaining or would actually tell about like what happened in the course of the movie. It's mostly just a bunch of lip service and bullshit. But this goes even like 10 times further than that as being stupid, because in this you just get together a bunch of people that go to conventions and stuff, and you're like, we're going to play this movie, and if you were in it, tell some fucking story about it. And it goes for like maybe 5 minutes, or they just tell you what the movie's about.
And I didn't know this, but somebody was telling me too that to help promote these releases that they're doing, including that crowdfunding deal where you fucking, for a Blu-ray, it's $80 some or whatever it is. I don't know exactly. So they've got like popular YouTube people doing commercials and stuff in the beginning of their videos and telling people to support this shit. Did you hear? Well, somebody posted that on.
No, I hadn't heard that.
On the Facebook group. People can do what they want to with them fucking videos, but I just hope that they realize that these assholes that are making that In Search of Darkness is just doing that sort of thing to make money. They don't give a fuck about horror fans. Like, look up here. It says Axel said he saw a new commercial for, they're doing In Search of Tomorrow now, which is a sci-fi documentary. And then I bet after that, we're going to see In Search of Tomorrow too. Electric Boogaloo.
And then you're going to see fucking In Search of Space or something. It's going to be something else. In Search of the Jungle. They talk about cannibal movies.
In Search of Your Money. It's basically what it is.
I generally speaking love any kind of like horror documentary thing that's produced outside of like Blu-rays. Like, not the stuff that comes on the Blu-rays, but like when they did Never Sleep Again and Crystal Lake Memories and shit like that. Like, I really enjoyed those. But there's just something about this where it's like, you can tell it would take zero effort and zero imagination and has zero purpose to do it. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't watch it. Like, I tried to watch it, but I'm like, what? If you're really like a horror fan, what would you need to watch this shit for?
Well, the big thing too that people were all up in arms about, which, I mean, I don't like this shit anyway. Like, if you're going to make a documentary, make it 90 minutes or less about something specific and not just a talking heads thing. Like, remember that Fulci thing that we watched? It's kind of like that probably, right? The Fulci DVD that's just interview after interview after interview.
Yeah, well, in this, it's just like I said, like, they just go through each year and highlight, like, films from each one of those years, and then somebody that's in the film or likes the film tells you what the film's about. And it's like, all right. That's assuming that I've never heard of this film or, would have any interest in fucking Joe Lynch telling me what it's about anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this would make a little bit more sense. Cosmo Bubba said if they'd broken it up into a series like the old VH1 I Love the 80s series, I could see reception being better. Like, remember the Bravo 100 Scariest Movie Moments too? That was good. That was long, but it was well made.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably 12, 13 years ago at this point. But yeah, cut it up or whatever. Don't just throw out 4 hours of talking heads. It's basically...
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, Never Sleep Again was really good. They didn't charge you $85. But at the same time, like, it's so fucking long, I don't see myself ever watching it ever again.
You really don't have to, though, because, I mean, once you hear those stories... Like, the ones that are going to stick with you, and then the ones that don't. And it's just, you learn something about it and then move on. At least it was contained.
Now, see, Axel's brand, this is what I want.
Yeah.
He says, I want some obscure shit. I want to learn about movies that I never knew about. That's the thing, like...
Well, that's what Vinegar Syndrome's doing right now.
Yeah.
That's why...
Even if it's a movie that's not very good, which some of their stuff is honestly not very good, but like the special features and the interviews and stuff about the making of those movies and everything else is great. You know, and it's stuff that you haven't seen or heard of a million times.
I really feel like there's 3 companies that are the only 3 that are really hardcore trying to like bring people stuff that they probably never heard of, and that would be Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, and Scorpion. Like those are the only ones that I see that are like, or of any quality anyway. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, Arrow, they do a pretty good job too.
Yeah, but Arrow mostly is like just re-releasing, you know, stuff that they've already either released before or it's kind of well known.
They've done some obscure slasher stuff too.
Well, yeah, I guess they have. Like that one.
I mean, they haven't done anything lately, but the Mutilator Man never come out before.
Yeah,
until they brought it out.
Yeah, that's true, I guess, yeah. But Severin's really pulling shit out of their ass here lately.
I think Arrow's making some announcements tomorrow. Believe it or not, I don't know what it is at all. But, Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge is one that's definitely coming out. I know you're excited about that.
That movie's fucking awful. I hope people are excited about that piece of shit coming out.
You know, though, there's some of these movies it's like that one and like Terror on Tour. Like, I would just love to see what a remastered version, because those movies look so horrible, like the VHSs and stuff. I would just love to see what it would look like cleaned up and all that. I know that some of these movies are probably never going to see the light of day because the original source material is gone. Like, I've heard that, what was that? I think it was Lunch Meat, right? That was one that people really want to bring out, but the source material just doesn't exist. So the only option, if they were to bring it out, would be just a ripped VHS.
Jesus Christ. There's got to be a lot of movies like that, too.
Yeah. Geek Room Life says a 4-hour documentary on Children of the Corn sequels would be better.
Oh, God.
That'll probably come in the Vinegar Syndrome set. They may do that. I could see them doing Children of the Corn box set and like The Howling. The Howling probably more likely.
Seriously to God, though, it would be more interesting if they made like a Children of the Corn like documentary like that, but everybody in it was like telling the truth. They're like, God damn it, this is the worst shit ever.
They could have David Arquette's brother / sister. He was in one of them, wasn't he?
Alexis. Yeah. Did you know, and I did not realize this until I was watching this movie again recently, that Alexis Sarkett's in Pulp Fiction?
No. He is in Bride of Chucky. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of the gunmen in, you remember the movie somewhat, right? Like, the guy, like Samuel L. Jackson goes in there to pick up the case, the briefcase and everything, and ends up shooting all those guys. And then at the end, there's the one last guy that comes out and is shooting at them but misses, and they kill him.
And I need to rewatch that movie. It's been a long time.
Well, that's Alexis Arquette.
You know, something else that we were talking about the other day, I was talking to Garrett, I think, who I think is in here still. None of Tarantino's movies are out in 4K yet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Think about it. I don't think any of them are. We were talking about the whole bloody affair, the Kill Bill that never came out. Like, they were talking about it probably, I don't know, what year did that come out? Like 2003, 2004? And they were talking about the DVD box set. They were working on it, right? I think it came out in Japan. It never came out here.
No.
That would be like the ultimate box set, like in 4K. Like, I really love the first Kill Bill. The second one I can kind of do without, but I would love to see it unaltered, you know, the full, the gore sequences and all that in full color.
Yeah, it was a great movie. I like both of them. But
I like both of them too, but yeah, the first one I like the best.
Yeah. Just the end sequence in the first one is probably like one of the best end sequences of any film, where she fights the crazy 88s and all that.
And similar to that too, the Grindhouse movie, the Grindhouse cut in 4K, that'd be badass.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. Cosmo Bubba. My Vinegar Syndrome stuff's supposed to be here tomorrow, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, mine too. I got fucking track. It's in Independence, Kentucky right now.
Damn. Where the hell is that at, by the way? I've always wondered that. I've never been through
I
Independence.
have no idea.
He said, I don't know why it popped into my mind, but I'm still bummed that Vinegar Syndrome released Psycho Cop 2 on Blu-ray, and the first Psycho Cop hasn't been released on any disc.
Those motherfuckers.
I don't know if I've ever seen the Psycho Cop movies.
Well, you gotta watch the Psycho Kickboxer movies to get in the right mindset to watch Psycho Cop.
Well, that's probably coming. Black Forest Cake says they are waiting for Weinstein to die in jail before doing the Tarantino 4Ks.
Probably true.
All right. Well, if we got any more questions on here, anything else going on in the world of Uncle Bill you want to talk about?
No, I'm going to do a video. I don't know when the hell I'm going to do it. Just like another one of the haul videos. And I'd say you'll be doing one soon, too.
Yeah, like I said, the Vinegar Syndrome stuff, I mean, I'm getting that tomorrow. I was hoping I'd get it today and we could go over that shit today, but
yeah,
it is what it is. But yeah, I've got, I bought a lot of shit again.
Yeah, I think we both did.
So
I did get something in that's pretty killer, though, that I found.
you got any hints?
It's out of print. It's Italian. That's about all I can say. You guess it if I say anything else.
Okay. So we will. It's not. Is anything Vinegar Syndrome related or no?
No.
Okay. I got something interesting in, but it's in the other room. I didn't bring it. You know, we're going to be doing the. We're kind of preparing for it. I guess we'll do it sometime probably in June. Maybe May. I don't know. Probably June, though. The Clown House. You know, we did Twilight Zone, the movie, the Tragedies in Tinseltown, a.k.a. Tit series.
Right.
That we did on Twilight Zone, the movie. The next one up is going to be on Clown House from 1989. And I saw that Amazon had it was a DVD that was only like $9.99 or something like that. So the MGM DVD is long, out of print. They took it off the shelves not long after they brought it out, right? So I saw Amazon had Amazon Prime. It was from Amazon and everything. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? It was the most clever bootleg DVD I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how they got it on Amazon, but it was sent from the Amazon Fulfillment Center and everything. As soon as you open it up, you can tell it's a bootleg. Like it's a scanned cover of the... Right? All it is... We'll do it. Whenever we do it, I want to show it because it's fucking hilarious. It is the MGM cover and everything, but they have took out the MGM logo on it. If you look over on the back, everything that says MGM is blacked out. And they added, those little stickers that they have for foreign releases, like in England and Australia and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So they added that to it to make it look like it was a foreign DVD release. Right? And it says on the back, this item is only for resale in areas of Australia and New Zealand. It's like the funniest looking bootleg that I've ever seen. But smart. They're smart.
So is there any official version of Clown House that's out?
We've got a version on the DEADPIT Roku channel that you can check out if anybody wants to check that out. It actually looks the quality on that's pretty good. It must have been from the DVD. But that MGM DVD, it was briefly out, and it'll probably never come out again, if I was guessing. I mean, anything could happen in the World Wrestling Federation, but, you know.
Word.
Yeah. So.
But no, I don't got nothing else, and hopefully we get to do that sometime soon. And other episodes of Tit, which will be good.
Yeah, our Dead Pit Tit specials. Or maybe we could just call it Dead Tit.
Dead Tits.
But yeah, I mean, we appreciate everybody joining us again. I know that, you know, movies like Alligator 2 probably doesn't really, you know, it's nothing you could strongly promote, but that's part of Sequelitis, Uncle Bill.
These
is movies that nobody give a fuck about.
Because, like, you know, the original Hitcher and even the original Alligator were both respectable films, and the sequels were both not. I'm sorry to tell you.
So, something else that I did want to quickly mention on here. We're going to try to prepare for doing, you know, the fall programming, September, October. So, give us some feedback on stuff, like people that watch this later, people that are watching it live. Stuff that you guys would be interested in seeing. Like, I want to do some stuff that we've never ever talked about. Like, to me, I think I kind of enjoy that. Like the Clown House thing, like I'm looking forward to talking about that sort of thing. Because like I said, it's a movie we've never reviewed, much like Twilight Zone the movie. And there's a lot of crazy shit that happened, as many people know on that. So any other ideas or anything like that people can think of that we should do this fall, I am down for whatever. Just let us know. So
yeah, give us some ideas, bitches.
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, that is it. We appreciate everybody checking it out. Check out the website. You know,
Right down there.
Yeah.
It's over here. That's
The
titties.
Patreon page up there.
It's over here.
And
Look at.
yeah, there's all kinds of shit on there, by the way. We're probably 16 different updates this week, at least 18, maybe 19. I lost count.
Somebody was talking about the majesty that is the original Helllord band recently that you can get, you know, only through those subscriptions.
We've got some Dead Pit jukebox stuff, putting up at least 2 or 3 songs every week. Man, I listened to Miko Don't Lose Our Number Again. We could not release a song like that today. We would get in trouble. But we may put it on Patreon anyway, because Miko, you know, I hate what happened to Miko.
What happened to her?
Well, I can't really say, but you know, she's long gone.
What the fuck did happen to her? Seriously.
Scared her off. She got a real job, basically.
Oh, okay.
You know, so, although I think she would rather people think that she's dead, to be honest with you.
So she must have had some really bad, like, experiences with people on there.
Well, yeah, that song is just one of them. So I'll probably put that up next week. And the Hellord song that we've got up is the Prowler, which is that's a pretty good one. Like I was telling you earlier this week or last week or sometime. You know, the vocals are not the best because we couldn't never really sing that good. We trying our best with the Dio style falsetto, but some of the music on that, man, for you know, 23, 24-year-old kids was not too bad.
Yeah, we were really coming into our own and like the making horror metal punk songs like that.
Yeah. So I think the next Hellord song that we're just to give you all for the ones that stuck with us this long is the name of it is Eat a Bowl of Fuck.
Eat a bowl of fuck. I'm here to party. You remember? I just think about this one the other day. I hadn't thought about it in like 10 years, and it just came into my head. We did one song. I don't remember what the first part of it was, but it goes into a bridge or something where it's like I can't even fucking do it. Tonight you can go fuck yourself, and no one else.
Dude, there's some songs like,
Oh God.
I've got most of these on CD, but we literally have those big cassette cases full of like us doing shit. Like we would play, we're talking 30 fucking songs in a row back in the day.
Yeah.
So some of this stuff we probably, like we've, Crack Whore Boulevard is fucking, Crack Whore Boulevard, Dancing with a Corpse, Covered in Shit, Lucifer's Ass.
Yeah.
Those are just the classics. So
Law by Ted. I always liked the Law by Ted.
yeah. And then, like I said, we're going to eventually put all those up, but yeah, the Dead Pit jukebox on the Patreon, deadpitonpatreon.com.
Seriously though, do you remember what the first part of that song was though? Because I could not think of like whatever else was going on.
I think a lot of the times, like with that one, we probably just recorded it one time.
Yeah.
And I was just making shit up as we were going along, but I do remember like, go fuck yourself, and no one else.
There's another one too that I thought about where it was I need schoolgirls to remain in chains.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah.
Also put the,
Oh fuck.
do you remember this was on like the early midweek obliteration shows where we would, I think it was on the iPhone, where you remember you could just say a bunch of shit into the iPhone and it would make a song for you?
Yeah.
So this was around the time period where it was me, you, and Jess, and we each said shit, right? I have to send it to you. It's fucking hilarious. Like it's like a hip hop fucking tune or whatever. That's up on
God.
On the Patreon page. I put that one up.
I forgot we'd even done that shit.
Also, another Helllord classic real quick just popped into my head.
Uh-oh.
Beyond the Valley of the Blood Gnome. Uncle Will.
Yeah. It's hard to beat. Oh.
So, Geek Room Life is asking about the original Dead Pit theme song. I will put that up, yeah. I mean, I definitely got that, so. I think it'd be cool to maybe tell the story about us. We'll do that at some point, too, maybe right before we put it up, about us making that song.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's late, almost midnight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show, and hopefully we'll have some cool stuff coming up in the near future. I know that I've talked to you about a couple things, so we'll have to just wait and see on those, but it's been fun.
It's been nice. But yeah, I'm going to go to bed now so you can kiss my ass.
Yeah. It sounds like your kids are asleep, so.
I hope so.
I don't hear 'em.
God. Stan's probably asleep in there too.
So, yeah, appreciate everybody joining us, and check us out only on.
It's over here. It's right there. It's right there, God damn it.
DeadPit.com.